everybody, it's Heather again. So I got a ton of messages this week from people regarding the video I did about John, also the stuff that I wrote, and so I had a few of the things that kind of popped up that I wanted to address today, and I figure it was easier to just address it this way than it is to write about it. Also, I hear that you can get fired for blogging, but who believes that? So I just figured that it's easier to just talk about it. So I took notes so I would remember what everybody said. Somebody told me that they wished that they had close relationships like I did in high school. Also, someone said they were sorry that they were part of such a negative experience in my life regarding the audition that I talked about a couple days ago. And so I just wanted to say the following about kind of those two things. I feel like being close with someone, especially in 8th grade is such a weird time. There's like popularity in junior high, and high school is a little like a shooting star. It's like you have it and then woo, it's gone. And I feel like having a close relationship with someone, it's just where you end up. It's being in the right place at the right time. I feel like that's a lot of what happened to me in junior high and high school. And as far as the audition goes, I loved being in musicals. I loved even probably the day that I had to sing that song on the stage. I think I probably even love that looking back on it. And I learned an important lesson kind of into every life. A little Barry Manilow must fall. The song that they made me sing was We Made It Through the Rain. And the lyrics go, we dreamers have our ways of facing rainy days and somehow we survive. And I feel like those lyrics are just especially, I guess, meaningful now. I had someone this week tell me that it's too bad people don't talk about other people that fondly until after they're gone and not there to appreciate it. So I will tell you that in people asking me about grief, not just specifically this week, but all the time, one thing that I have learned about grief, at least for me, one thing that has brought about a whole lot of that telling people how you feel and expressing yourself that way, grief has brought a lot of emotional gushing my way. Grief is good at a whole lot of things, most of them negative, and making sure that I'm spouting love on random people at random times seems to be one of them. But here's what that gets you. You end up gushing love all over your friends like a proverbial geyser, which is really great, I guess, when you're talking about someone that you really care about that you've lost. But the flip side of that is, at least for me, for the last 5 years, grief has made me somewhere between acting like my 7-year-old self and or acting like a rabid dog on uppers. Somewhere in between on that spectrum. Those are all the things that grief has brought me to in the last 5 years. So, and you're welcome for that visual on the rabid dog. Gushing love or emotion all over someone isn't something that I expect other people to understand. In fact, I hope that none of you ever understand it. I hope that grief never brings you to that place. I really hope that so many people don't go through grief. I know that they will, but I think that there are ways that I have gone through grief that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. Grief makes sure, and this is another thing about me particularly, grief makes sure that you know that your life is really short, and while you're busy gushing love and kind of spewing that all over the people around you, people take it the wrong way, people get jealous, or people don't take it at all, so you become a pariah. Grief makes you look around and realize that in the scheme of things, you mean so little to so many people. That's not everybody. You mean something to some people. But even the people that you thought did really care about you don't stand up for you, and that makes you really hate them, which is so strange because grief has such like immense capability to make you love other people, but the flip side of that is so ugly. And if you know me, you know that I'm a Wallace, and the Wallaces pride themselves on a number of things, not all of them good. One of them is the Wallaces as a whole, they really like everybody. In my case, generally I love everybody. But when someone doesn't like me or you let me down in a big way, we hate you twice. That's just the way that we operate. It's super productive, and grief multiplies not only love but also hate by about 7 million or so. So since I did get some things like you should really talk about people while they're still alive, there's a lot of people that I have been friends with forever, but I thought I would start with, because people are kind of like wanting to hear about senior year, so I would start with that group that were all seniors when I was a senior, with one exception who was with us most of the time, and kind of just go through that group. So Catherine, I don't think there's anything wrong with the fact that you have been better at almost everything than I am for our whole lives. And when people ask me about the girls that I was friends with as a senior in high school, I talk about you, and I talk about Michelle, and I talk about Sarah, or Cheryl, and I talk about Cindy, and I talk about Sue, and when it comes to the people that I was competing with for roles in musicals and plays, I love to talk about you and Michelle and Cheryl, because it was always the four of us just neck and neck all the time. And I love to have that conversation with people, because I am so glad that I don't have to say these three amazing women who were better than me at everything, especially acting, singing, and dancing. They didn't all decide to become like scuba divers or basket weavers or something else. All three of these women now have careers that somehow has to do with theater. And so, like, for me, it's like I was better than I would have ever been because of the three of you. And so that includes you and Cheryl and Michelle. And I have such great memories of all three of you. And it doesn't matter to me if I didn't get the part or I did get the part, really. Overall, I was always trying to, like, kind of running to try to keep up, and I did that because I loved what we were doing, and I think we all loved what we were doing. When it comes to Michelle, I have great memories of just that laugh and just being such a good friend. When it comes to Cheryl, I have amazing memories about our creative writing class, and all the crazy things that went a part of that, and riding the bus home with you every day. And one thing that I'll always remember about Cheryl is that the day before they gave out the parts for the musical Annie Get Your Gun when we were seniors, we were both like kind of competing for second lead, and we made this little pinky promise at the bus stop that if either one of us got the part, the other one would still stay in and wouldn't be upset and all those things. And it's kind of funny because neither one of us got the part, but that's just something I'll always kind of remember and cherish. The counterparts to that group, John, of course, who I already talked about, and Jason, and I have amazing memories of Jason, and I am so sorry, Miss Haugen, if you're watching this, but if you were at Maine West and you were there the time that we were there, you could get up to the roof of Maine West, and I won't tell you how, so that if you don't know, you don't try it, and don't try it, please don't try this at home. But we, there was like a night that we went up there and you could just see all the stars, and it was probably, I was never away any place where you could do that, and so it was such an amazing memory that I have of Jason. Jerry was my counterpart in The Reluctant Dragon, and he was an amazing dragon and an amazing friend. And Cindy, who I have loved since 7th grade, and who she walked every step with me at lots of the things that we did. Her mom took care of me. She always took care of me. The only reason I ever had good hair in high school was because of Cindy. Susie, Sue, I spent so much time with, more my junior year, but then again also in my senior year, and she taught me so much about being independent and being on your own, and also about, she's probably the only person I've ever let perm my hair in Jason's parents' kitchen, and we just had such a great time, and she was such a good friend to me, and I'm so appreciative of that. And I love seeing all of your guys' Facebook posts and your families and all the things that you're doing. It's just, it makes my heart so happy. And then there's some extra counterparts, Pete, and I'm not going to really go into detail about Pete. He already knows how I feel about him, so we're just going to leave it at that. I've actually told him in person. Paul, Simo, and Tom. So Paul and Tom were kind of like the tech guys in all the theater stuff that we were in. And we're both so amazing. Again, two people who are using their marketing and building and construction and architectural genius for things in the world that are amazing. So, so fortunate to know them. I will never forget, almost this entire group went to Theater Fest with me my senior year, and my parents were always so worried that we were going to get in trouble. It was like, if there was a party and there was drinking, or if there was this, we could get in trouble, and they kept me from, you know, getting in trouble in some ways, and were really careful about what they said yes that I could do, but they had no hesitation in letting me go to Theater Fest, which, for those of you who've been at Theater Fest, I think they dropped us off there and we saw the chaperones again at the end of the weekend. We had an amazing time, but I feel like if anyone could have gotten in trouble on anything, that was probably it. And I have such amazing memories of being with Paul and Tom and the rest of you, but specifically Paul and Tom at that particular time, and going to all the things that had to do with Theater Fest. And Paul and Tom were always my friends. It was kind of like, if I needed something to do on Friday night, they were like, hey, we're doing this. My best memories ever of Swenson and Mr. San Francisco, which is the name of a Sunday, all revolve around Paul and Tom and all of the fun things that they did and how good they were to me when I was a senior. And again, so I wanted to give a little bit of that window to everybody, to all of you who were seniors when I was a senior. If I missed you or you're not on the list and you really want to be on the list, I'm sure I will continue to do this now that I've had a bunch of people ask me. But I just wanted to start with, here are people that I can at least say something to that will still get to watch it. And maybe next time I'll do this without crying. So thanks so much for watching. Bye.